If we do not get meaningful legislation out of this Congress, the time will come when we will not confine our marching to Washington. We will march through the South, through the streets of Jackson, through the streets of Danville, through the streets of Cambridge, through the streets of Birmingham. By the forces of our demand, our determination, and our numbers, we shall splinter the segregated South into 1,000 pieces and put them together in the image of God and democracy. We must say, wake up, America, wake up, for we cannot stop, and we will not and cannot be patient.
That was the voice of a young John Lewis, the student leader of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It has been 60 years since that march on Washington, and 6 decades later, its message especially rings true after the arrest of the former president in Georgia. Organizers will return to Washington tomorrow to mark the anniversary with this year's theme, not a commemoration, a continuation. With me now to discuss is LaTosha Brown, co-founder and CEO of the Black Voters Matter Fund, and Kendra Cotton, CEO of the New Georgia Project Action Fund. Kendra, this year's theme is very clear. The march continues with multiple issues like threats to democracy, which include threats to voting rights. Where are we in this moment compared to 60 years ago?
I think we are, well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Simone. I appreciate it. We are regressing, if we want to talk about where are we compared to 60 years ago. When I think about where we are, immediately I think about Carter G. Woodson's seminal work, The Miseducation of the Negro. And there was a quote in there that, kind of compels and really kind of impacts my thinking and my understanding of the moment that we're in right now. And it says, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You don't have to tell him not to stand or to go yonder. He will find his proper place and he'll stay in it. You don't have to send him to the back door. He'll go without being told. And in fact, if there's no back door, he'll cut one for his special benefit. And that's what we're seeing with these book bans, right? I feel like we are less than a generation away from folks trying to convince us that the March on Washington was nothing more than a proverbial block party. That's how we're trying to water down history. Everything is not trying to get people to hate being Americans. We are not trying to get people to hate themselves just because they were born white. The purpose of all of this is if you don't know history, you are destined to repeat it. And so I feel like we are in an inflection point in America, in democracy, and it is at stake. And we owe it not just to ourselves, not to just the elders that have come before us and our ancestors, but to our future and to the children that are going to come after us to ensure that they have a full awareness and understanding of the trailblazers that toiled to give us the rights that we are benefiting from today.
LaTosha, as Kendra was speaking, I thought about how much that has been accomplished since 1963 and the threats and, frankly, the lengths through which people are currently going to keep that history, those accomplishments from even being told or learned about. The work absolutely continues. What do you think it's going to take to complete the unfinished goals that the march laid out? It was a march for jobs and freedom. They were talking about justice. They were talking about voting rights, civil rights.
I think you're absolutely right. A lot of progress is made. The fact that we have 3 Black women that are on network television right now discussing this issue is a result of the work that was done 60 years ago. So I acknowledge that a lot of progress has been made, but we do have a lot of work to continue because we've not dealt with the source. The source of the issue, there were 4 major issues that they were worried about for the march that they were calling for. It was around jobs, economic inequality, it was around voting rights, and it was around police brutality. That was a core issue for the March on Washington. And we're still dealing with those issues. And the reason why we're dealing with those issues is because we've not dealt with the source. And the source has been structural racism that has been embedded in this nation since its founding. And until we're actually able to really take seriously this idea and this notion that all men and women are created equal and endowed by their creator and stand on that, then we're going to continue to go through this vicious cycle of once again dealing with white supremacy, of what we're seeing in this rise of white supremacy. The good news is that there has been a generation of people who have been activated. This work is continuing because we also see the dream and continue to build on the dream.
You know, all eyes obviously have been on Fulton County, especially this week. And 3 years before the March on Washington, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested in Fulton County while protesting for civil rights. He was in the exact same place where Donald Trump was just arrested for trying to erode those rights. Kendra, what do you make of that symbolism and that fact?
Yeah, it's a fact. I take no pleasure in what happened yesterday. I don't think that anyone in Georgia who truly loves democracy would take pleasure in the devolution of seeing the office of the president, a former president, being arraigned, having to, go to a bail bonds office to secure a bond to be released from jail. I mean, we should be in mourning over that. And I am just absolutely appalled that this individual stands at the top of the field for the Republican primary, despite all of these charges against him. What the gag is about all of this for me is they have this man on tape. And I just really cannot wrap my mind around the fact that we are sitting in a moment where people are still trying to make excuses for him trying to steal a duly executed election. You don't get to have it both ways. We had our Secretary of State testify before Congress that that election was pristine. There were no issues. And despite that, we sat and watched our state legislature come back, pass SB 202 in 2021 that retrenched voting for folks here in Georgia, that took away, ballot box access, that, criminalized providing food and provisions to folks while they were waiting in lines, all predicated upon a lie. And then we watched and heard with our own ears and saw with our own eyes this man make a phone call imploring the Secretary of State to fine.
That we all heard. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kendra, but that we all heard. This is a moment that is about our democracy, and I think that this 60-year commemoration is actually right on time. You two ladies are modern-day freedom fighters, and I appreciate you, LaTosha Brown, and you, Kendra Cotton, for joining us tonight. Thank you.